Hello and welcome to the Legal Writing Skills Test. This is a webinar in which we assess skill. Writing skills, like any other skills, can be tested, and I developed the Legal Writing Skills Test as a way of measuring one's ability on a range of skills, from sentence level techniques of handling words and editing words and spotting and fixing problems, to larger techniques such as the ability to understand what an argument is and state it concisely. So there are basically two parts of this test. The first 35 questions are more sentence level, paragraph level issues, and then there are the large-scale problems relating to condensation. How do you take a piece of writing, understand the arguments, and express them as issues as concisely as possible? So I hope that you've worked through at least the first 35 questions, and it's beneficial, of course, to have done the last 3 questions, but they do take quite a bit more time, and I think you'll find it helpful whether or not you've already worked through those more challenging questions at the end of the exam. So let's get underway with the Legal Writing Skills Test. Now, the part 1 on sentence level editing begins with spotting and fixing grammatical errors. Each of the sentences we're about to look at has a single grammatical error. You can assume that citations are correctly supplied, and the idea is to correct the error in each sentence. So question 1. The court held that in an action to determine which of the 2 subscribing employers were liable, well, immediately you can see which of the 2, it should be which of the 2 was liable, because the which is singular, and the word one is actually implied after which one of the 2 subscribing. But let's look at the rest of the sentence. This is the way a professional writer or editor approaches a text. You think, well, that's the problem. There may be something else, though. For workers' compensation due to an employee, that's fine. The borrowed servant doctrine applies. Notice that borrowed servant is hyphenated appropriately. That's a phrasal adjective, sometimes called a compound modifier. Workers' compensation is correctly punctuated. You could make a case for apostrophe S, but typically it's S apostrophe. So we're quite certain that it's going to be were, should be was, and that's what you see in the answer. By the way, question 12. It is not shown. Well, show is an irregular verb. The past participle is shown. So is shown is passive voice. By the plaintiff that the defendant was motivated, that's passive voice, was motivated. And as is alleged is passive voice. There are 3 in that sentence. And notice how wordy it is as a result. The after version in the box is so much more straightforward. The plaintiff has not shown that the defendant intended to destroy the value of the plaintiff's promissory note, as the complaint alleges. All in active voice, and we just went from 3 to 0. But just remember, you're looking for a be verb plus a past participle. I might also point out that in the first construction, not is functioning as an adverb, and it is correctly splitting the verb phrase. That is something that it's the only place to put the adverb. You could not say it not is shown, or it is shown not by the plaintiff. It is not shown is the only way to use the adverb not in that construction. A lot of people who don't know much grammar think that you cannot split a verb phrase, and they're confusing split verb phrases with split infinitives. I will leave that to your future reading pleasure. Just look it up in any good book on English usage. I certainly have a very full entry in modern American usage on the split infinitive. You can also look it up under adverbs.